Welcome back to Blast R6. This is EUL Stage 2. Play Day 2. Look at these two handsome devils on the right. First things first, wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed yesterday when I asked you, where are you watching from? And you just dropped it in the chat. Please do that again. I'll have a look retrospectively. And we've got one game left to play. And it's a bit of a redemption matchup. Fnatic versus ITB. Two teams that really struggled yesterday and have a lot to improve on. Am I right, boys?
Yeah, you absolutely are, Ian. Thank you very much. We're over by the screen, and we wanted to pull up what our big 3 points were for each team to improve on if they were going to have a chance in this game, because neither team won yesterday, and we want them to improve their performances. So for ITB, we've got the three here. I'll move very slightly out the way. The first one is to do what works for them on attack. We know for them, they like to play the power operators. They like to play Dokkaebi, Monty. They like to do direct takes, and I want to see them stay true to that identity.
The second one is to disrupt attacks without losing bodies. What I feel we saw yesterday was ITB wanted to waste time for the attackers. They wanted to get in their face, maybe shoot a few drones. But what we were lacking is a safe pathway back to the bomb site. You go there, you waste time, but please do not lose man advantage. Go back safely to bomb site.
And that links into the third point as well, which is make coordinated plays to improve refragability. Ultimately, I want to see Creeds getting in the face of the Fnatic guys, but I want to see Noah, Azza, the rest of the team working alongside him in order to do that, and at the very least, they get a refrag onto him. Now, if we move through to Fnatic, Leo, you are going to take away the first one.
Yeah, adaptation to early aggression. One of the first things that we saw when they were playing against G2, G2 got in their face. Both G spawn picking, jumping out windows. You have to be ready for that. I'm not saying ITB will play the same, but you cannot lose bodies that early in a round. That's a rookie mistake.
Moving through to the second one, very similar vein of form for ITB, but Fnatic have the same. Commit simultaneously in the mid and late round. So many times against G2, we saw Fnatic do something. They got the first thing right, but then they did nothing in the mid and the late round. It was so desynchronized. It wasn't together. So boys, if you're going to do it together and do it simultaneously.
And I think overall, what lacked there was the confidence. You could see them, even when G2 was playing aggressive, they would fall back. That's what we needed from them. And the proactivity as well. Control the pace, you control the game. That's what we needed from them.
So they're our big 3 tips for both of these teams. But to be honest, in my mind, Leo, it sounds like this Fnatic roster's got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, and they've made some changes that I know that we've been keeping an eye on very closely here, of course, with Kanto and Sax. Kanto, a bit of a legend making a return, and the Italian Sax, who's looking to make a splash here in EUL. But like you guys have just highlighted there's a reason why we also highlighted this as a real match to watch here. We just had, of course, the Juggernauts in BDS versus G2, but we've got two teams here that really struggled to get off to a strong start. If they can implement some of the points that you guys have just made there, Fresh, they can reset and start again right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, any team that got absolutely battered yesterday, and Fnatic got absolutely battered, I said they were shell-shocked. What they need to do is wipe off yesterday, forget that it even happened, and then go forward into today. Just forget about it. Today is their play day 1 of EUL.
Leo, is there an argument that it was a bad day in the office for them?
Yeah, of course. I mean, one there's that, and the other they were playing G2, and I think that gives you a good excuse, especially on a map where if you want to play aggressive in defense, you have plenty of opportunities. Control is not that easy, even with the rework, to get into the building, and G2 abused it as much as they could. Now ITB is a very different opponent. I would argue that ITB's strength is to play together well, slow, methodically, have direct attacks, like you said, a very different playstyle from G2, and much easier to react to it.
Let's move on to their opponents, ITB. We know that they need to improve on what was a bad day, and we discussed it kind of yesterday. They need to make sure that they go above what we think that their limited ceiling might be, Fresh.
Yeah, there's lots to love about these guys, but the level criticism that we both throw at them is that on an individual basis, they don't stack up to a BDS, they don't stack up to a G2. But on a collective basis, that's what takes them over their perceived ceiling. And I think that's the one thing that we need to see from them. Yesterday, they swayed, I think, away from what works for them well, and they need to get back to that.
I would say right now, they're in a very similar situation as Fnatic. They don't want to start the stage 0-2. That's really bad. But I would say at the same time, as a team, they're at a very different stage. ITB stuck together. They're the same lineup that has consistently progressed through stages and through many tournaments. And Fnatic is a brand new team with 2 new members. So ideally, ITB should win this one. And they were also more confident versus Wolves yesterday than Fnatic yesterday versus G2.
At the very beginning of the day, we highlighted the fact that we've got a new map, and we've been wanting to see it all day long. It's time for picks and bans. Is this going to be the moment we finally go to Lair? Yes, it is. We are actually going to the brand new map here at clutch moment. The last possible opportunity to go to Lair Fresh. It's time.
I felt like you were teasing me there, Ian, and then you were just going to pull it away, but no, we stuck true. We've got the Lair that we all wanted to see. Finally, it took 8 map vetoes and we get there for EU. Now, what we heard out of EU teams is that a lot of EU teams play this map, so it's no surprise that we'll see it. I think it will be a regular. However, for me and you, Leo, this is complete uncharted territory. We don't know whether these two teams are good on this map or not. What I will say from a Fnatic point of view, it forces them to do things a little bit more properly than they tried to do yesterday, and I think that can only be a good thing.
Very similar to the way Bank played for BDS, where they knew they needed to clear top floor and clear middle floor and then execute on basement. I feel like it's the same kind of maps where you have to establish multiple step-by-step plays. And Fnatic and ITB are the kind of team that I expect to have the playstyle to play well on these maps. So it will be really interesting, and especially if strategy is the real win condition here, then we're really glad to see it live for the first time, Lair in Europe League.
Give me a team. Who's going to win? Let's go.
ITB should win.
Let's go.
Fnatic.
Oof. All right, you guys are going head to head. It's time to bring in Dev and Pengu. We're going to Lair, baby.
We are going to Lair. Yes. So, Nicholas, I have a question for you, mate. What's your favorite room on Lair? Or just any room on Lair? The name of any room would be nice. Like,
all right. So I always play by the ops room. So I know ops, at least as my rank stat calls it. It's the room where the mirror window often go. It looks towards a singular door leads to the outside. Does that make sense? You know what that is?
Yeah.
It's by this bump right here.
No, I know that one actually. That's like the external one that everyone always fights over.
Yes.
All right.
My favorite room.
So yes, look. Guys at home, this is probably your first time watching Lair. Maybe you've seen some other tournament that has run it, but I expect it is probably your first time watching Lair play at a pro level. It's my first time casting it. It's Pengu's first time casting it. It's our observer, Easy's first time observing this map. I'm so excited to break into it. I have no idea what to expect.
No, that's the whole thing. Like, the meta is not set. It's not gonna be for a while. The play styles, etc. No clue. We can only assume based off how it plays out in, for example, ranked, or if you got some internal scrim knowledge, if you're in any sort of like talks with like players or teams. One thing I am not surprised about, however, are the current Arbiter bans. Both the Monty and the bits being planned out. This makes perfect sense. Shields are incredibly strong on new maps because you don't know all the perfect angles and map control and the roam clear, etc. Shields just make that so much easier. So both teams saying, you know what, let's play a quote-unquote fair game of Rainbow Six Siege with no shields involved unless they play Fuse.
I would actually love to see a fuse. And honestly, there is a possibility on this basement bomb site. There are a lot of places that you could potentially fuse, but that's true. Huge map, Lair is. And I'm not just saying this because it's reasonably new into the pool. Like, obviously, played a bit of ranked and casual and stuff on it, but it can be a confusing map to navigate when you're not used to it yet. And I think that it's going to be a really hard one to clear. Like, people are going to love roaming on this map. There's so many flank opportunities. If you're picking that basement bomb site, you're not going to be able to comfortably go for like a map clear. You're just not going to have the time. And you're going to have to constantly worry about flanks. But that said, I think we haven't seen it settle yet. But it seems to me that this top floor bomb site is one of the favorites.
Yes. That's my immediate thought as well is I could very well assume for the beginning at least that we're going to see top into basement being number 1 and number 2. I think it's always like a very big comfort thing because you have less floors to work with, less roaming necessary, etc., less, verticality to die to as well. But then as the map will kind of progress over the seasons to come and the months to come, etc., I expect the middle floors might actually increase in pick rate because you start learning the map, the verticality, the roaming a lot better. So always fun to watch a map from the beginning and as it goes on.
Very true. Already I'm seeing a few spicy elements in the mix. We've got the Ying, the Dokkaebi, the Grim, and the Amaru, all of which are very execute-heavy ops. And who knows what could be in store for them. But the Flores is also going to do a nice job of clearing out some early util, this barbed wire. But for the defense, you mentioned Mirror already, and since Ops is the bomb site, or at least adjacent to the bomb site, we are going to see the Mirror facing into it. Also a Mirror out of R6 room facing towards the hallway. So yeah, a nice setup for the defense, and honestly, not too dissimilar to what I've seen in ranked before.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is very familiar territory thus far. I like what Fnatic are potentially cooking up, though, with doing like a quote-unquote spicy take in the very first round. It's going to be a very big surprise factor, of course. Amor will be looking to go up the hatch with the Dogapi call, with the Yinkadillas flashing the side as well. But Fnatic, they got to strike the right timing here to catch ITB off guard. We saw D-Pick already very early on. He's primed and ready downstairs. He's waiting for the rest of his team, get in position. We see calls, we see the Incandelas. All we gotta see next is the Armor hook to actually go. There it is.
And he's going to come up from the hatch down below. He can't seem to get an angle. He does eventually. Straight up into sight with the SMG-11. Can't confirm the kill he's looking for, and he immediately drops on back down. However, Kendrew is able to take him out before he managed to successfully retreat. This attack has fallen flat on its face. Jegs struggling, but thankfully, Leon finally opens the equation. 2 versus 4 is very awkward, but Fnatic have made some headway as unfortunately Leon falls, caught in a crossfire. Oscar and Creeds to confirm that kill. And now poor Jegs left all alone. I think this is the end of the road for him. Fnatic had a nice attempt, but there should be no chance of him confirming this one. Caught in a crossfire, being toyed with. Noah takes him down, and a good start for ITB.
I think this is the perfect way to show just how new Lair is as a map, because we all saw it. The hatch has 4 sides to it. It's a square, but on that particular hatch, there's only one side you can actually enter from because the other 3 areas lead into a wall. So we see Deepak doing 360s being, no, not that one, no, not that one, no, not that one. And unironically, the time that they lost from him kind of fishing around with that, lost them the initial entry. He had a Valkyrie blinded by Ingdilla, sitting still right here, grimping the whole thing. But he flies up, the Yinkadilla effect wears off, Valkyrie looks over, gets the kill instead, and it just completely falls apart. Deepak drops back down the hatch he just came from and said, you know what, I'm out of here. And the thing about these kind of rush direct attacks is you have basically 1 bullet in your magazine, and then you have an empty gun. You choose to go for that execute, you go for the fire, that's it. You're all in, you're fully committed, win or lose. Fnatic showed us confidence, but they didn't show us much more than that in that round.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a pocket strat like that, you know, you miss your entry like we saw, unfortunately, Deepak do with the SMG-11, or you lose 1 kill here, 1 kill there, and the round is pretty much done. Like you said, you've got 1 bullet in the chamber when you run a pocket strat like that, and unfortunately, Fnatic missed their shot. ITB, though, on paper, should be the favored team no matter what map we're going to, right? Like, these guys made the major in Manchester. They had a solid, not phenomenal, but solid performance at that event. Fnatic, in contrast, have been looking for redemption for quite some time. They've never quite hit the strides that they did back in 2022. And years later, despite reuniting with Kanto, who did have a brief stint on ITB, they still have a lot to prove.
One of the big things that I was kind of thinking about for ITB for this entire stage going forward was, now that they're a bit of a more known team, you have Vods on them, you have some research. I'm curious if they're gonna be less surprising to opponents, you know, maybe gonna be caught off guard, countered a bit. Now people know what to expect from them. I think it's good for them to have a quote-unquote easier start, I feel, by playing a team like Fnatic on their second play day. To just kind of get into the swing of things themselves and kind of work with the new stuff they've been, you know, trying to implement during the off-season, for example. Fnatic, though, clearly they play Lair. They got a pretty good proactive strat both in round number 1 and round number 2. So the rush attempt, they got map control that they needed, great. Now they got their breaches opened up, but they got these long lines of sight to battle with. It's hard to break this apart because there's so many crossfires near the bomb side.
Yeah, and Starks is going to go down early as well to Azza.
Attackers have recovered.
I like the idea from Fnatic using Hard Breach. We didn't see that in the first round. A lot of teams will use Hard Breach on that top floor, at least in my experience playing ranked on this map. But Fnatic opted not to do it, so they've changed tack. They've got the Hard Breach back in action for the second round. They've opened up a lot of the avenues coming in from Warehouse towards Locker's Missile, towards the bomb site. I'm probably just saying words that half the viewers won't. Like, if I was saying call-outs, half of you guys aren't going to know what I'm talking about. I barely know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to say
I don't know
what's relevant. And that is that Fnatic have opened up a lot of avenues, but they haven't been able to actually find anything for it. They've already lost a player.
Yeah, this time they don't have the Grim, don't have the Ying either, so they're going for a quote-unquote direct approach here. Not a lot of roam clearing happening, but they don't have any power-ups to break it apart. And this is kind of falling, apart right now for them. It's not working.
It's very much the case. At least Leon's found something. Leon's found 2, traded back again. Just Cancer now against his old team. And his second game back with Fnatic since the good old Rogue days. He's got a 1v3 ahead of him. The Kanto of old could have, but
15 seconds to go.
it's time to prove that he's still worth his reputation. Hunting for another kill. He's got a great gun, but he doesn't have the magazine to pre-fire it. Kenny will take him down. And a good second round now. Defense looking locked up here on Lair for ITB.
Yeah, of course, any new map, defense could be heavily favored. One of the dangerous things about trying to play Lair in professional play with it being so new is, well, if you pick the map, aka you ban the other map and there's only 2 left, you will not have the starting side choice. So in this case, Fnatic, they banned Skyscraper. That meant that they basically picked Lair. And because Fnatic picked it, ITB choose the starting side. That is why they find themselves on defense. So the quote-unquote best way to play Lair is if your opponent chooses to go there so that you can start defense. This is the kind of gamble you have to take. Of course, Fnatic, they knew this going into it. So I think if you're Fnatic, if you're any team right now when Lair is so new, you build up 1-2 attacking rounds, you're gonna be okay, because you should also just be running away with it more often than not on defense, because this map has not been fully figured out yet. At least that's the assumption.
Yeah, but this is exactly why we rarely see new maps played a lot of, and why so many teams opt with the philosophy that Virtus Pro take. Like Jack was saying earlier today, Virtus Pro will rarely integrate a new map into their pool. They will wait until the last moment. They're not really like innovators, they're adapters and perfecters. They take what everyone else is doing and they find out a way to perfect it, and so many teams adopt that because it is a safe strategy, right? But Fnatic here, they were the ones that opted to leave Lair in. It gives ITB, as you said, the choice of side. It's a newer map, so it's already going to be defensive favored. Fnatic are taking a huge risk here. They need to weather the storm of this first half, hope for a round or 2, and then come through when it comes to the second half.
Not a lot of roam clearing operators here. No Jaggle, no Deimos, no Dokkaebi. Just a pretty good old lineup with the Grim, of course, kind of being mixed in there. But they're making good progress so far. Taking the first ops room, now going to the hallway, droning it out. The only issue is it's a very big map. What they're doing is they're pushing away ITB from the roam game, but they're not meeting them with guns to cut them off anywhere. So they're just like slowly pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back. And if ITB wants to, they can just go all the way to back towards the bomb site-ish area. But now they're sticking around though. Kenny C4 in hand, looking for an angle. Nate goes out, he trades with the C4. No damage on either side. Though Fnatic, they gotta move first, they gotta strike, they gotta push off these roamers.
Dominance of the top floor is essential for moving down onto the ground floor where the bomb site lays. But Fnatic don't want to over-aggress. And ITB haven't felt too much pressure yet. Yeah, Creeds has taken a little bit of damage, but he's still got this crossfire he can sustain. And Leon wants to get in amongst it. Bit of damage done onto this Azami's Keeper barrier. Oh, he knows that player is caught in the room here in gun, but it looks like after a bit of a brawl, seems like Fnatic have weathered the storm. They managed to find 2, but at the cost of Jegs and Sarks falling themselves. Top floor is cleared, but the Buck has survived. And that means that Cancer not only finding another kill, but he can also use that skeleton key to enable the vertical push. However, Azza had been undroned, unaccounted for, and so he punishes onto Leon. 2 versus 2, and still action going down on this roam.
He's gonna keep on going. Just need one man staying. No, Kenny finds both kills in a round, and every single kill, every death happened above the bomb site. Bomb site is a whole floor downstairs. They're all brawling it out, and this is the thing. There is so much map to worry about. Their flanks, getting the entries, the bomb site itself. If you look at that from a top-down perspective, you could say Fnatic, they could have just pushed the site for free, but they don't know that because they have so many other things to worry about, and you can't necessarily make these really quick rotations like just dropping down a hatch immediately or jumping back out a window like on Consulate. This is a very closed map. Once you're in it, you are in it, and there's not that many ways to quickly back out like we see on older maps of Siege.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised, to be honest, that ITB managed to keep on fighting for that top floor. Like 2v2, and still the last 2 players on the top floor, and bomb sites down below. Fnatic thought they had maintain top floor control, and that's why Leon just sprinted on through to his demise, and Kenny had a really solid end to the round. So solid for ITP. I think we will see, like, now that we've had 3 rounds, we've had 3 bomb sites played, Nick, like Fnatic are going to have a better idea of what these setups are. And this is where not only we are testing how much of you practice Lair, but how much can you adapt on the fly. So what do we think? Like, knowing Leon, knowing this squad, are Fnatic an adaptable team? I'm not sure.
Well, whether they are or not, I'm not sure. We'll find out. What I do know is that Fresh and Alphama, they spoke about the things that Fnatic gotta do to improve. What they need to do to improve is their words, I believe. It was adapt to the early aggression, they need to commit together as a team, and confidence and proactivity. So they need to do literally all of those things to get there right now, and it goes off to a great start. Starks gets the opening kill onto Creeds. That's step number 1. Right now you build that early advantage, but can you do anything with this? Basically, when you get a kill like this, you buy yourself maybe 20 seconds off the clock because you've now cleared a player position, you got manpower, and you essentially have less utility to worry about potentially in the round, especially with that kill being a Sami, of course. So Fnatic, slow it down, step 1, step 2, step 3, and just see it all the way till the end.
Oh.
Missed the first one?
And now the mirror has been counted. No, I think there was an Azami, sorry, a Rooney gate. A Surya gate covering the mirror.
Rooney, Asami, Amaru.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Mate, all of the A operators, they always get to me.
Same.
The three what's the word? Syllable. The 3-syllable A operators always get to me. But yeah, nice job here. But Kenny, he's been on fire this game, and he's found his 7th as well. Like, he is not looking to back out at all. He's keen to continue fighting for this control. He's got the Vector in hand. It's a great gun. It's a headshot machine, and he's loving it.
So commit together, right? They clear out the mirror window. One guy Jacob the door, dies. Second guy Jacob the door, doesn't die. But like, finally they do something. They all buy as well. C4 comes from below. Kenny swings out again. Second headshot for him. Fnatic, what are you doing?
I mean, they're just feeding Kendrew, who's on fire. I don't think I've seen Kendrew look this good for such a long time. He's nailing every single headshot, and he's still holding onto his position. No mirror window, no kill barrier, doesn't matter. A 3rd kill in the exact same position. A C4 to head on over as well. Sarks doesn't last long at all. Kenny is farming today.
Kenny literally queued up, like he went into Pro League basically, but queued a quick match because he is just farming individual people walking through the same door, no drone, no util. What I would think should have happened there is Ash will jiggle peek the door, get the mirror window, and that did actually happen. But after you get the mirror window taken down, you shouldn't jiggle peek riskily and then you die. The second guy tries to do it, you bring over the flashbangs immediately, you flash the mirror player either from the window that's super safe or from the door that's a little bit riskier, whatever. With those flashbangs, you push on in. I feel like it should be that simple. And to make matters worse, you had Osa, Sarge, look at the icon right below the operator, 1 Osa shield in pocket. 4 Grimbees in pocket from Deepak walked into Option and died. So they had 3 flashbangs, 4 Grim Candelas, and a spare Osa shield to deal with Kendrew. None of those things were used, and Kendrew just farmed them. That's the point where, okay, maybe you have the right approach. You know what room you want to attack, you can do it with the mirror window. But why not use your resources? Because if you don't use them now, you're not gonna see the bomb site, then it won't matter.
It's funny because at the end of the day, it was fundamentals that Fnatic lacked.
Yes,
they had a great read. Yeah, they had a great read on how to clear that position, how to counter the utility. But how do you just kill one guy who's got really good aim and holding onto a position? Just fundamentals, refrag, use your Grimbees, use your stuns, timings. Like, there was a stun grenade, but it came out slightly too late for the guy that was peeking, and then there was no refrag. So, like, Kenny gets a kill and then gets stunned, and then he's just fine to just sit and chill and wait for the flash to go away. And yeah, little details like that is what's going to lose Fnatic games, and eventually lose Fnatic their chance to make it to Montreal.
Oh man, they got us chop up though now. It's time. They've taken Starks off the... Oh, right. That's a kill, right? We take those, okay. They missed the castle barricade with the grenade, but I'll say that's a worth it trade though. Again, getting that early manpower advantage, but they need to put it into a round dub. As we said earlier, if Fnatic can get 1 or 2 rounds on the attack, I think they're gonna be okay. But until they get that at least first round, I will keep fearing for them. Because if this is going to be a 6-0 half for ITB, Fnatic have to be flawless for 6 rounds in a row just to go to overtime. That's just not realistic. It's not feasible. They gotta show up before it gets that bad.
Fnatic really need to be gunning for 2 rounds here. 1 round is, I don't think, enough. And so that means delivering right here. Converting this numbers advantage they've established early on. As so close to taking out Can, so now he's going to worry about being flanked from behind. A C4 shot out in midair.
Ow. Okay.
Fnatic start to try and shape up. They've got some vertical potential, but still they haven't cleared out Kendra, and Oscar has been allowed to finish off what was left of Counter Raketi. So Fnatic, once again, in a bit of an awkward position where they're letting it slip away.
Yeah, I mean, they got the demos of the roam clear, but I always want to question here, maybe it's time for a little Jackal action. Sure, going to be called early on, sure, they got an opening pick, but they keep getting flanked, and we know as well, Acer is still roaming up above. They're going to try and hit the side, or at least nearby, but that, you know, box around them is closing in. Acer on the flank, 3 people on the side, and Fnatic, they don't have any active droning. This is Leon Kids walking around just trying to find something.
It's a nice idea from Leon, but the problem is it's been well read by ITB. They plugged up the site with plenty of utility Azami keeper barriers, just normal barricades preventing this rush from working. However, Fnatic have got the numbers advantage thanks to Jegs finding his pick, and that does mean, especially in tandem with the Deimos, the ability to lock out some of these positions. Leon, using that Deimos, is going to get the Vendetta into the action and then go for the plan. But guess who is still remaining? Kendrew finally put in the dirt, and finally Fnatic get their first round.
Leon gets put in so much work. I mean, you know, you tend to think, okay, Leon Gates gonna be on, you know, support operators, this drone the entire time. Now put this man on injury, I'm telling you, right? He gets stuff done, he leads the charge, and while he did have to injury without any drone support or refrag, you have to play risky sometimes. And Fnatic, they are running out of time, they are running out of map control. I think the only real choice there for them was just to go forward and go so fast that whatever's happening behind them is not gonna catch up. And it really did work out. Leon gets the kill, goes for a plant, gets off for the trade. It's all really good. This is how it started. Red ping, Deimos track, boom, gets the kill. But the one issue that's always been going on is the full map control. And I get it. It's a hard new map, a lot of things to worry about, but they keep getting flanked and being a little bit careless about it. We also saw something really funny, actually, where Leon gets tracked the mute with the demos, and we saw Jax just flicking up, down, left, right, likely because Leon was trying to communicate exactly where the mute was, but just like you and I, they're starting to make call-outs and knowing the map exactly, as are the players for good reason. Because he was like, is he on the door? Is he staircase? Like, he was just flicking back and forth, and it was like, no, he's not there yet, like, don't worry.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt, like, as much as these guys would have scrimmed this map since they got the news that Lair was joining, replacing Oregon in the pool, as much as these guys have been playing it in casual ranks, etc., like, yeah, it takes a very long time to get, like, that high level, that just purely, like, intrinsic knowledge of a map. And, yeah, it's certainly going to be learning it for a long time. Deimos is getting his fair share of play, and we're seeing it already spring into action. Creeds has been tracked on out. And we're seeing a little bit of proactivity from Fnatic, one of the things on the wish list from Leo and Jack. It's exactly what we need from them. They found their first round, they need to convert a second. And if they can do that, I think they have a really solid chance of challenging ITB for points in this game.
ITB are doing the same kind of thing as they have previously, so Fnatic should now have a better idea of what the playable positions will be. But also, I like this from ITB. They have a system in mind, they're going to repeat that pattern, and because of that, they're going to be met with different scenarios every single time. It's slightly different, right? And then you can learn all the different variables and then play a quote-unquote perfect round of Siege. Portable shield here with the Warden, kind of hard to clear. Only issue is no Jaeger, no Wamai, but the nades have been used very like over the place for Leon Gitz. Got none left in pocket, so you gotta rotate with the Ram or something like that, but there goes the C4, can't get the trade, it's back to a 4v4, nobody's round just yet.
Kanto needs to find more than this, but he walks in, doesn't realize Kendrew's boosted on up. Can I just say, Kendrew on 11 kills. He's taken this game by storm. Nobody could touch him. Now, Leon Gibbs was the savior of last round for Fnatic. He needs to do more so here. Again, 1v4. Not looking very possible. There's the first. Bit of a pre-fire onto the next. Maybe with the Vendetta, he might be able to find this player down here. He's actually pretty close, just around the corner from him. And he's got a few sound cues as well. He reveals his position, makes a vaultable hole. But I believe ITB are in a solid position to prevent any 1v1s. They can maintain crossfires. Creeds finds the final kill, and thus the round ends 5-1 in favor of ITB. Fnatic had a brief moment of success, but Nick, it was not to sustain itself to a viable half. Now they move on to their defense, and even a single error means match point for their opponents.
Yeah, they gotta put up a really solid performance, and the thing is, the good thing about starting on the attacking side here for Fnatic is they get to take a look at how ITB they were defending and like what their meta game was, what their approach is going to be. And you can now take some inspiration from this and say, okay, they're doing this and it worked really well. Let's try and imitate that. Or, hey, they didn't play this particular bomb set that we actually thought was really strong. Maybe we got that wrong. Not to say you should flip the script on your entire game plan and strategy, but you're learning very valuable things here by actually seeing what the stronger side is and is not doing. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a similar thing for Fnatic, but right off the rip, it actually is going to be a bit of a toss-up. No mirror, for example, more playing about the intel from the Fenrir, trying to pick your 3 areas where those mines will be activated. You can play off of that on contact, of course. Bandit tricking for the wall denial to keep those walls intact on both sides, and just playing, I guess, good guns. I like the Legion here. Get a bit of information, but to be honest, there aren't that many vaultable windows with high impact, I would say, where a Guma is guaranteed to go off. It can be nice on a staircase, but if it gets shot, you're not gonna hear it, then the flank is open. So you have to be very active if you're Fnatic right now. You can't rely too much on just the Fenrir mines or the Guma's a thing to give you the whole story of information.
Well, at least Fnatic have found an early advantage, taking down the Deimos and Noah. I actually don't know. Was that an aggressive peek outside? I'm not entirely sure. The thing about this lineup for Fnatic is like it really does rely on still having good gunfights, right? Because it's like a lot of traps to prevent lurks, and it's wall denial and fortification of positions. But it's not like we got, you know, a mirror or something that's really going to guarantee that you're winning these fights. And so yeah, at least they've got numbers advantage, but it's just so hard to have faith in a team that's only won 3 rounds in the league so far. And this is, we're pretty deep into their second game.
Careful. All right.
He does get the trick off though.
Yeah, denies the entry point. It's only a pressure point now. They can peek on in with their heads. So I would say mission accomplished there for Jackson the Bandit. No pathway not enabled though. Candelas, can you make a player? Kenny, 11 kills, did so well on defense. But now gonna step on the attack. It's a bit of a bait and switch, but he jumps on in.
Oh no. Yeah, very risky. And maybe it is just a tale of 2 halves, because Fnatic are looking pretty much lock and loaded on the second half here on defense. ITB don't have a lot to show. They haven't really had success anywhere in the map. Opening death. Unable to breach the wall successfully, unable to make an execute work with the Ying and take control of this other side of the top floor. Not a lot to cling on to here for ITB, at least for Fnatic. A little bit of confidence, perhaps.
Oh yeah, if you're Leon, get you saying, I told you boys, all we have to do was get the 1 round and go on defense, we're gonna go flawless. That's like every IGL ever. You don't really believe it, but you have to say it and inspire your teammates, because you know that you're down pretty bad right now, and you need every single round you can get. Come on, Creeds, get one.
Nope, he's not gonna get anything. It's flawless. There we go. All right, you know what Leon gets is saying right now? Exactly what you said. Come on, guys, I told you so.
Yeah,
pep talk time.
We got this. 1 minute at a time, boys. that is the story here. I mean, when you play this level, it's always about the upcoming round, or so to speak, like your current round. It doesn't matter what mistake you made before. Don't start doubting yourself because you messed up in round number 1 and now you're in round number 7. It's about what you're doing right now that matters and nothing else. Of course, you should keep track of what bombs enemies playing and what positions they play and what kind of objects they like to bring. But generally speaking, don't worry too much about the past, because it can affect you. You play worse, you play more scared, and it's gonna snowball into a loss more than anything else.
That's right. I mean, it's a very well-known sports psychology mantra of you can't change the past, right? So it's actually unproductive. It's not really about like, being super positive or optimistic. It's not about optimism at all. It's about being practical. Like, you literally cannot change what has just happened. All you can change is the next round. So there's no point arguing about what happened last round. Did you end up reading that book you were talking about?
The Inner Game of Tennis. I was reading that while I was on vacation last week. Yep.
No way, you did.
I was laying by the pool reading it, and I was like, okay. And so much of what that book had, I could so relate to from like a professional player standpoint, as a athlete, so to speak. It's a very good book.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
I need to
recommendation.
reread that one again. Yeah. Well, you can thank Mandy for recommending it to me, and I think that it was Sage from X-Bliss that recommended it to Mandy.
Oh,
so there you go.
okay. It's the chain recommendation.
It is. Oh man, Kanto, bro. Like, this isn't 2018.
I was gonna say, was that necessary? Again, like, if that was kind of 2018, he wins that every single time, right? Like, no doubt about it. But you're playing defense, you got everything going for you. The one way you lose these rounds and whether you shouldn't is throwing bodies and taking these risks aren't worth the reward. Kanto getting the kill there is okay. Kanto dying there is actually pretty bad for the team because now you play at 4v5, lose a big portion of your own game. The drone confusion with the video scanner no longer in play either. So I'm gonna say here, not worth it.
Yep. If it's plus 10 karma for getting that kill, it's minus 50 karma for losing it. And the same can be said here for Sark's falling. I mean, this is pretty grim, right? We're talking about Fnatic on the favored side, defense, down 3 rounds. They need to be capitalizing on this advantage that they've got right now, being on the favored half, and you can't afford to just take low percentage plays for very little reward. And I think it's just going to go to worse here as well because Jags is pretty much trapped.
Let's look at the Fresh and Alpha list for ITB there. They said keep manpower advantage and play aggressively together in those situations. That's what they gotta do right now. Gotta keep that numbers advantage and play together. Trade their body successfully. They will win this round. They're hunting. They're third.
He's so dead. What is that? I mean, you called it, Nick. Like, they got so aggressive on that one room, but they abused the hell out of him. We had 4 people hunting this one guy. You got Grimm's bees, you got Deimos tracking him, you got nades flung his direction, and 4 guns trained. Yeah, Leon found one. That's nice, but he's low HP. Deepek's under the pump on site, and there's 50 seconds for ITB to convert a 4v2.
Also, just to go back to the first one of Kanto dying, they're playing Dokapin in the attack, so they get to hack the phones that early on as well. It's even a bigger negative than before, that to shoot out their own bulletproof camera on the bomb side. The good thing for Fnatic, 30 seconds left, not that much time. ITB, if they have one slip up, one mistake happening in the server, that could be the round turning moment for Fnatic on defense.
They say the most dangerous numbers advantage to have is a 4 versus 2 because of how quickly it can slip. We saw it earlier today with G2 and BDS, and now Leon just has to look to deny the plan. He's taken down by Oscar. Deepek with it all to do, and the plan confirmed. Nice headshot onto Creed's, almost a second found. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a player up above, and there's keeper barriers preventing his path towards this diffuser. He's caught in a crossfire around in the corner. He gets a little bit of information, a bit of a shoulder peek. But he's not going to last at all. Kenny to lock it in. And with that, match point is well within the hands of ITB. Fnatic on the ropes for a second play day in a row.
And now this is really his worst case scenario, because now we can talk a bit about the attacking side for Fnatic as well as the defense. And the simple conclusion that we kind of arrived at on the attack was they're making really basic fundamental mistakes, not using utility, not playing together as a team, and not having what seems like a really cohesive, easy, simple approach to the game. Now on defense, they're making these same kind of mistakes where they're swinging alone, they're making silly, overly aggressive moves, they're not playing together as a team, and they're just falling apart individually. There's not a lot of trading going on, so the same issues on attack are very similar here on defense. It's the same all across the board.
Oh man, Fnatic, you're in dire straits right now. This is the second play in a row where they've looked, frankly, quite hopeless. So a 7-2 decimation on Consulate yesterday against G2, and here struggling to piece rounds together against ITB. And the rounds that they have managed to succeed, for the most part, have been 50-50, they haven't been convincing. And yeah, there was one nice defense at the top floor, but in a map that should be defender-sided where you can barely attack, you need to have more than one bomb site with some merit, and we didn't really see a lot that gives me any promise on that basement bomb site. It was just forfeiting pick after forfeiting pick and then not being able to play those disadvantages. To ITB's credit, this has been a great game from them, right? Like we talked about some of those checklist items on the wish lists that Leo and Jack mentioned. ITB are already starting to set those sites, their sights on those tasks, and they've done a great job of demonstrating that in this game.
Has it been a great game for ITB or a great game for Kendrew? Because this man has carried like 4 rounds on defense, I think, at this point. I mean, it's a team game, right? But this man is an absolute monster. He's on a heater, and he is putting in so much work, at least on the first half of things. Cannot be understated that this old man can still shoot. Spawn peek with Bush T. Desperate times calls for desperate measures.
No way, bro. Another one.
Back.
Yes,
He's so back.
He's back. If you want to win, pick up a fin. That's what they used to say.
That is the saying. Crush it. I dare you. I triple double dare you, Kendrew. Yes.
Oh, he wins this. No, never mind. He's dead.
That's unlucky. You gotta try.
Surely they can't fumble this, man. Surely they can't fumble this.
Oh, he missed it by like
that's awkward.
Thankfully, doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, given the situation of this round. Well, I love this. It took Fnatic to go down to match point 2-6, call a tactical timeout, and the only thing that was said was, guys, stop caring, start playing. That's what they did. They play Oryx, Vigil, Boss G. They stopped caring and they started playing.
Can they keep up this momentum? I sure hope so, because we'll need 3 more rounds like this to push OT. Noah in a 1v4, and his days are numbered, that's for sure. Beautiful work from Fnatic. As you said, sometimes you just have to stop giving a flip. 1 pick for Noah, but I think it's just going to be a consolation prize, as he's now worrying about a crossfire from below. He's walked into another goo mine, and he is dead. The Dutch sensation picks it up, and a big round from Canso as he takes another swig of that H2O. Maybe he is back, Nick. Maybe, just maybe, he's back.
Either way, I like seeing Kanto with confidence, because one of the big things that was a talking point from him himself, actually, back on his last day at I was gonna say Fnatic, but you know, the Koi/Rogue situation, was he lost confidence in himself and his ability to play the game the way that he needs to thrive. The good old school Kanto, he turned 18, immediately had offers, joined Pro League immediately, had a hard time in the very beginning in scrims, actually. We scrimmed them quite a lot back then in Penta days. But then, you know, when Pro League season came around, this guy was smoking people left and right. He would ego peak and ego challenge everybody, and he was inarguably the best player in the world at one point. Kanto, that is. Yeah. But when you lose confidence in yourself, and your role in the server is to be a fragger, then entry, to get kills, if you lose your confidence, you lose everything, basically. And either you adapt and you become a supporter or a flex player, and your values, they go into communications or strat making or enabling others, or you will have a really hard time just kind of struggling, feeling like a shell of your former self. And unfortunately for Kanto, he went through that period for a long time where he was like, what I'm doing isn't working, but this is the only thing I know how to do really well. And I really want this guy to succeed. I want to see good things. I like this kind of throwback to the good old days when they won the major, you know, trying to bring back that glory. But there are these rounds where it's like, okay, he's so back. And there are rounds where it's like, okay, he's been gone for a while, you know? Consistency, I think, is what I'm looking for here. He's missing consistency.
And look, you can single-handedly win 1 in every 10 rounds, and that's still not as valuable as just giving like a 20% contribution or a 50% contribution in half the rounds or in 3/4 of the rounds. So consistency is far more valuable than flashiness in a game like this.
Let's see here. A little bit of a breach, a Maverick, a flashbang comes out. ITB, they did what couldn't be done before. They successfully get the wall opened up, but if you look at the Arbiter lineup, they don't have much to enable this. There's no Osa, there's no Ying. There currently are no smoke grenades either, so this is mostly going to be a point of pressure, I think, for them. Maybe a late round flank from the breach. You can walk on in and see if anything happens. They still got to clear out the rest of the map. Poor Leon Kids, somebody help him, because he's in a whole lot of trouble.
Leon getting away with his life there is an absolute miracle. Daylight robbery that he's able to get away from that situation. Thankfully, he was the Azami. He had to keep a barrier to try and protect himself, but he's lucky that there was no one on the window at that moment. What? Never mind, he's just given his life away elsewhere.
Interesting. Like the warden here, though, can see their flags being perfectly played by Kanto. Good trade from speed, though. That's what Fnatic was missing. They strike true there.
The boss G no less. Now Jags down below is feeling pressure from two different sides. He's got teammate to support him, and he can come and take down Azza, who was distracted with his teammate. Now a 3v3, and Deepek's also got some vertical line to try and support his teammates up above. But that does give info over to ITB that there's only one player up on the top floor.
Yeah, they could decide here. Flashbang going. We see a player on the breeze. This could very well work out for them. Boshi can be hard to enter if you don't land your shots.
And Deepek has failed to land any of them through the floor. Another trade upstairs leaves us in a 2v2. Stark's feeling the pressure, taken on down. Now all up to Deepek, who's got to make his way back upstairs. And so he does. On for a retake. 30 seconds to play, and he spots the first player. He's got to retreat. What he doesn't know is that Noah's waiting for him with the boss G to smack Fnatic aside. Into the breach they go. Another dominant win. And a great start to the EUL for them.
Oh, Noah striking back with revenge from, Kanto getting that 2 kill earlier on. Getting the final kill with the boss. He's saying, you know what, Kanto, my kill had a bit more value. You won the round, but hey, I won the game. Sloppy one for Fnatic, but it is a new map. It's hard to expect anything there. At the very least, it showed they have a bigger map pool than maybe anticipated, but they gotta tighten up on those fundamentals.
And a much needed win for ITB after just barely losing to Wolves yesterday and not getting any points for it. They really were looking to make a statement, of course, making the Manchester Major, set their sights on the Montreal Major. They're going to have to prove it. On the flip side, Fnatic, what is going on? A question that I certainly can't answer, but hopefully someone on the desk can.
Yeah, good question, Dev. You and Pengu, first time together. It's been a beautiful thing. Congratulations on you guys. Look, ITB and Fnatic, we came into this knowing that it was a redemption arc for Play Day 1. ITB are the ones who went for it. And Fnatic, we'll get to them. They have a lot to improve on. ITB, the upward trajectory, I guess, continues here. But first, what did we learn about Lair?
I think we learned that 2 words are king on Lair. Information and initiation. I think when you're attacking Lair, it's such a big map, the mid floor, the top floor, huge map, that you need sufficient information in order to get those attacks done. And I think the operators that will be kings of Lair will be those initiation operators. It will be the shields, not in play today, the Dokkaebi, the Deimos, the Lion, the Ying. And I think whoever controlled those 2 things generally in the round was the ones that were winning those attacks.
Yeah, if you have to make attacking Lair simple, you would say that on almost every floor, you have an outer ring with lots of corridors, with easy access, easy entry into the building. And then you have, in the center of the building, lots of rooms with lots of natural crossfires that make it a really good turtle for every bomb site on every floor. Arguably, basement was the weakest one because that's the one that most of the defenders lost in this game. But other than that, what really matters here, you get into the building really easily on the outer ring. How do you work your way into the center to the bomb site quicker than the others? And this is where, like you said, Jack, getting in quickly with Deimos, with Lion, with Blitz, all these kind of operators to room clear is the real key to success.
If you look at a lot of these highlights that we're seeing on the screen again, a lot of them aren't 50-50 gunfights that we see highlighted when we play other maps, right? It goes to show that this map requires information. It was a lot of the defenders finding just free kills out there onto the attackers, or the attackers literally just raw dry peeking into rooms, into angles, and getting killed. We saw in the very first round, a player from Fnatic walk past a very common rotate that's there in ranked and die from it as if he didn't even know it was there. It just goes to show at this phase in the, when this map develops, maybe the information will be much more assumed. But right now, it's not there on these teams.
You got a clip you want to roll, right?
Yeah, I think it's the right example to show how performing ITB was, especially roam clearing, getting these guys. This guy is stuck. It's a roamer. He's stuck by the Grims right now. He cannot go into the Bees. And now he's getting demo striked, so he has to go and rub upstairs. But guess who's waiting for him? A cutoff with 2 players that can trade each other. Then a nade that makes him move. Look at the utility usage to get zone control. The Grims to prevent him to run down, then the Deimos, then the nade to make him move, then 2 guys to pinch him. Yes, they had manpower initially, but that just gives you the extra level of coordination that we see from ITB, a team that, like I said before, is at a very different stage as a team than Fnatic. You could see it there, and I would like to see Fnatic being able to clear that effectively later down the road.
Obviously, coordination is a big part of this team, and a big part of this team is Kendrew. What a performance from him.
Man, Kendrew was amazing here. And I would say, even more surprising than him, look at the way he's playing as an anchor and dropping frags when it matters. Holding this strong position here on the Mira, his Mira is stuck, he gets a double kill. A third one actually here, just holding TV's entry. Because you see Fnatic just driving it into him. And every time he was playing as an anchor, he was super solid to holding these strong positions. And that's what made the difference for ITB there again, abusing these natural close fires, abusing the naturally strong position in the map of Lair.
Always like to see man like Kenny performing. And now we are joined live on the show by Noah of ITB. Brother, you guys needed a win here after yesterday's loss, and you must be feeling relief, but also you'll be proud of that performance for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we knew yesterday that we were playing a bit timid in the beginning, so we just went in today with just full confidence, and we know how Fnatic is as a team. I can't say I didn't really expect Lair, to be honest, because I wasn't there during the map bans, but I'm glad we did, so.
I was just about to ask you about Lair, actually. Now, you know, obviously the new map. I'm not going to ask you why you went there if you weren't there during the map bans. Obviously, that's a Kenny thing, I guess. What's your feeling on the map? How do you feel as a team playing it? What do you think are the big things that teams need to get right on this map?
We thought we would have a big disadvantage from other teams because we were at the Esports World Cup, so we didn't have as much time as other teams to actually practice Lair. But once we actually got into practicing the map and making sure we understand some of the positions and everything, I think we actually really like the map as a team, and I think it fits our type of playstyle. So yeah.
We've been talking a lot about where your ceiling is as a team and how far you can go as this roster. We obviously saw you make it to Manchester, and then at EWC, you just mentioned that as well. What can you improve on here and now to go even further and prove to people that there's more to come from ITB?
I think one thing we've always struggled with is starting off as 100%, but I think as soon as we're 100% into a game and we're always the communication is there and everything is there, then I think we're probably unbeatable.
Unbeatable, eh? Talk to me about Kendrew today as well, because he was absolutely mega. I don't know, what's happened? Because he was getting violent today.
I mean, to be honest, we were having some warm-up before the scrim, and I think Kenny just I think he was just feeling it. Whenever Kenny is flying, in the server, I think there's not a lot that the other team can do. We've seen it against him, against the really big names, when we play BDS and stuff. So he can always show up whenever he needs to.
Whenever I see you guys together in person, it just looks like you're having a phenomenal time. You're all good friends, and you stay grounded and humble. How much are you just loving your siege at the moment?
I don't think I've ever had a team or anything that I've been so happy with, and all the people that are in my team I'm really close friends with. So yeah, I think we're just always happy to play with each other, and we're just gonna keep doing that.
All right, just finally, do you want to give a shout out to any of your fans watching at home?
Appreciate everyone that are supporting us, and I hope you keep supporting us. And also obviously a shout out to my teammates and Kenny.
Thank you very much, Noah. It's impossible not to support you guys. You're so lovely. Best of luck for the rest of the stage, all right?
Thank you.
Cheers. All right. Well, that is pretty much the end of things here. We've still got things to do.